Today is going to be the last episode of the Solo Cello Series, which has been a very kind of short, eclectic mix of pieces. The last score is by James Tenney. It's called Improvisation. I think it's from the 1950s, and I know very little about this one. I think it's an earlier piece of his. Yeah, there's this manuscript from 1956. I think you can freely download it online. The score itself is kind of marked up a little bit, and it's just 4 pages. Um, what are some things we can observe here? So, it looks fairly difficult to play. It's got some natural harmonics, and it switches frequently to pizzicato. There's nothing, there's like some harmonic glissandi, but nothing particularly crazy. I guess it does have a dedicatee, George Finckel. I guess this might have been a photo of him. So, I mean, maybe you can find some recordings that he's been featured on. Clearly, an American cellist who probably premiered this piece. This photograph is from 1968, so more than 10 years older than when Tenney wrote him this piece. Um, yeah, if you know anything more about George Finkel, just comment to this video. I don't think I'm gonna find anything today unless I go on to I think this is one where you kind of have to go into a library and actually do some real research. I don't think you're gonna find anything online quickly. So yeah, let's have a listen to this piece. Recordings in the video description, and I'm gonna let you know what I think of it. Okay, yeah. So um, yeah, my thoughts on this. That it's not a very well recorded piece. It's hard to find stuff online. There's just this recording which starts on the second line of the first page, right? So you're kind of missing the very beginning of it. Um, it's very kind of a dark and brooding piece. Much slower than I expected it to be. There's no tempo marking at the start, so yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be like a big 5 minute thing, but it is. These harmonic glissandi are kind of dead center in the piece, and I feel like that's a big climactic moment, right? You get that high E harmonic. Um, Otherwise, it's just kind of very like slow and you know, it has a modernist sensibility. I think it sounds pretty modern for 1956, but it's called improvisation, so obviously Tenney was not using a 12-tone matrix or anything to plan this out. He was more just like using his ear to make something that um, sounded modern. And yeah, might be an interesting piece to put on a program, especially if you're going through like American 1950s like modernist music. My thoughts on the whole cello series. Let me just pull up the pieces. I think there's like 7. Uh, yeah, so we had another James Tenney piece, Cellogram, the Xenakis, the Lockenman, and Kaisariaho, of course, and then the two more recent American composers. I think the sort of like bulk of this was really the like Prussian and Nomos Alpha. Those are the two really, really big pieces. And this Kaisariaho was a nice addition. I think it was okay. Um, there's definitely a lot more interesting cello rep out there that I wasn't able to include. To be honest, my cello and piano stuff, even though I don't have as many of them, looks a little bit more interesting just glancing at it. And compared to we also have done a solo bass series. I think it was a little bit less interesting than the solo bass stuff, even though that was also like maybe only 4 pieces. Again, I think this is a good place to start if you're interested in contemporary cello music and if you're writing for cello. I think these scores are all a good resource for that. I feel like these, after doing the piano series, these smaller genres and groups of scores are just kind of flying by. Like there's, it's like one week I'm doing this, the next week I'm doing that. Okay, well, that streak is going to end because we have all the scores for open instrumentation. So there's about 44 of them, and a lot of them don't have recordings. So it might be more like 20 scores or something, but still, uh, that'll be a really interesting one to get through and pretty useful for people programming new music because obviously it's open instrumentation. It's going to be very flexible. So yeah, that's a world we're gonna dive into a little bit. Of course, there's like so much music for open instrumentation. I won't be able to get to all of it, but if we look at some of it, yeah, I have a bunch of weird stuff from the States, and I think most of them are under variable instrumentation. I got a ton of James M. Creed to get through, and uh, yeah, and then a bunch of James Tenney actually. So more of him. Uh, yeah, it'll be an interesting one.